Right, welcome to this battlefield terrain tutorial, something a bit different here in this video. We are featuring some of the gaming aids from Objective Control and just showing how you can set up a board with a slightly more competitive feel to it. So as per usual, follow along and I'll guide you through the whole process, take you through from start to finish, and I'll link out as much as I can to different products involved. So this one's like a very jungly theme. As we first run with a battle mat. This one's called Lost World from gamemat.eu. It's 6 by 4 inch size. I've used a perimeter fence just to mark off the boundary to make it 60 inches across for our games of 40k. You can get this one in 60 inches by 44, the standard size now for regular games of Warhammer 40,000. So you can get a hold of it in that size. It's marked out with these very faint as Eldar, well, they're strong enough, but they're blended nicely into the terrain. These Eldar runes running all the way around here, and there's some across the other side as well. So 40k subtly, but you could also use this, I guess, for fantasy, like Age of Sigmar and so on. You get away with that, no problem. So jungle theme. So the foundation is the battle mat. That gives us our colour scheme. It's got some nice colours running through here. Some sort of grey stones running in this also, and then fading out into patchy ground, and then some dried earth sort of colours going on in other areas. The battle mat will give you your palette, your colour scheme, and your theme for the entire board. So it's made from this neoprene mouse mat material, and we just use upside down mats just to give us a nice black edge for our filming and for our games. Just a nice tidy table. So they roll out nice and flat. They come with a carry case as well, with straps so you can carry them around. They're easy to transport and store. And you can protect them if you roll them up correctly and keep them in the carry case, then you should be able to protect them for a long time to come. Nice and quiet for dice rolling, this material, and very figure friendly as well. If models fall over, they're not going to chip and so on with this softer surface. So that's your foundation in the form of the battle mat. I'll put a link for that in the video description below. There is also a discount code that you can use across the store at gamemat.eu. It's 11% off whatever you order. Just use that at the checkout. So just more of a competitive setup here with these terrain packs. So if you're on the tournament scene or into the more competitive play, these sets are great for that, when precise measurements and very clear boundaries for terrain is so important. So that gives us sort of the tactical side of this battlefield. The other thing I've noticed with this is that when you use these boundaries, you're able to use less terrain. So there's less terrain involved. We're going to play this as obscuring terrain. And so I've been able to use just one set of pre-painted terrain. It's the Grassy Rocks, I think it's called, from gamemat.eu. So it's these large rocky outcrops, one here, one across the other side that you can see, one here. These archways are part of that set as well. Another piece, and another larger archway across here. I've noticed that because of these boundaries, I'm not having to use physical terrain to mark my edges, which is what we usually do. But I know that the boundary is actually what's drawn out by these terrain footprints. I'm able to place like one piece of terrain on here, some scrubs and bushes, and then that whole thing counts as obscuring. So I'm able to stretch the terrain a lot better around the table and still get plenty of the board filled up with obscuring terrain. So really, this video is showing you how you can, with the use of these gaming aids, you can actually stretch your terrain to have a greater footprint on the table. It's another use for these Objective Control gaming aids. So with the main terrain in place, the rest is made up of all this foliage and rocks that you can see just to finish the board off. So we've used some of these trees here. This is from the club. These have been scratch built. I think the tree stump is resin painted up and then just based onto, looks like a resin base. So there's fake tree foliage. Now things like this, these ones are actually a set that GW made years ago. These ones here. But really, they are the fake plants. You can get them from cheap hardware stores, pound shops, and so on. You'll see them. Go to the fake plant section, have a look to see what they have. Aquatic shops as well. A lot of fake plants of lush green colours are used for fish tanks. And so you can get supplies from them. You'll find them on eBay as well. I always find it's good to physically see what you're buying. Sometimes you'll see a picture on eBay. When it comes through, it's not suitable. So if you physically see it at the shop, it is much better. I always keep a lookout when I'm out and about and going into shops, and then if I see something, get a hold of it. And you can get a massive variety of foliage. The great thing is that it's pre-painted, it's very flexible. It's coloured actually, it's not painted, so it's not going to chip. The plastic is coloured with these lush colours. It comes with a nice satin foliage type effect, and the variety is just so extensive. Now you can get a whole load of different types of foliage for your collections. That's what's filled these rocky outcrops out, and then after that comes lichen, bags of lichen, which you can get off eBay. More railway shops, hobby shops will have lichen as well. You can get a nice big bag of it and then just use it just to fill in all the gaps, and again just add to the foliage here. And then finally the finishing touch, which I applied after all the objectives were put out, is these stones to scatter. I've literally just sprayed these up, so they come in more pastel grey colours. I picked these up from a beach years ago. I've taken some spray cans, like a bone spray, a brown, and then a mid-tone as well, and I've just put them into a tray and then sprayed them up, shaking it up. When they're dry, spray them again, keep spraying them and rotating them around until most of these stones are covered in the spray, and that's a nice colour match for this board. And again, just a little bit of extra realism just to blend the terrain in to the rest of the table, but at the same time we know exactly where our boundary is for our terrain thanks to these gaming aids, and we'll play up to the hard edge across here. I'm even thinking to break up the solid square as nature of these, you can even run your terrain out a little bit, because you know that your boundary is following along this line, so you can break up the squareness and that would still look fine on the table. Even competitive play, you know exactly where your hard edge is. So this one's a very simple board to put together, and just giving you an idea of how a more competitive table would look on the table with all the terrain boundaries marked out for you and the objectives placed on the board. But that's the video, quite straightforward for this one. Lost World Battle Mat, the Grassy Rocks pre-painted terrain set from gamemat.eu, and then making use of these gaming aids here to set up this board, and you've got yourself a nice jungle themed piece of terrain for your games of Warhammer 40,000. Check out the links below, but keep a lookout for more videos in this series, and as per usual we'll fade out with some atmospheric music to capture the flavour of this jungle board. Thanks for watching, tune in next time.